One of the first things that really grabbed me about the Masters of Cinema series was how it introduced me a lot to silent cinema. It was through them that I first started to dip a toe into these movies that I had never really seen before. And there has been a lot of big hitting silent films that have come out. Every now and again, there seems to be one that just comes from nowhere that I've never heard of before. And that is the case with number 323 in the Masters of Cinema series, Finis Terrae. A film that, again, looking into, seemed to have quite a reputation. It was one that I really didn't want to see too much about and just throw it on and enjoy it. And this was an absolute marvel of a silent film, running in at a quick 81 minutes. This has some really modern traits about it, and you can see its influences far and wide through cinema history. It's all about a remote island off the coast of Brittany where seaweed workers gather to harvest that. There's 4 there. There's 2 older gentlemen, 2 younger gentlemen, and they're just kind of living by the rhythm of the tides and the weather. And when a sort of argument arises between the 2 younger men, they kind of fall out, and one has a little cut on his thumb, just an innocuous little mark from a smashed bottle that just kind of lingers there. And cut off from the mainland, the community must rally together to figure out what's going on in this island, because the signals they're getting from it aren't as normal as they would expect, and the kind of idea of nature, indifference, isolation, and pride all kind of meld together in this somewhat really aesthetically rich film. There are some really fascinating touches here. There's this documentarian realism that comes through it, again, which we'd see through cinema. He uses real actors, people from this community, to really heighten the mood, and some of the performances are good, some not so great, but they all add to the aesthetic. And there is this poetic visual experimentation going on here that I just was not prepared for. His camera lingers on faces of non-actors, the harsh textures, the sea, the vast landscapes that are there. It kind of dwarfs the human drama, which is still the emotional core of the film. The story is simple, and it's elevated through impressionistic technique, the dissolves, the close-ups, the constant interplay between the fragility of the elemental forces, the sea, the wind, the stone, everything batters down on these characters. There is this poison element. We have our character has a small cut, and as that gets infected and it affects the rhythm of the men working there, it starts to imbalance them as we start to see one being shunned because he's not working, he's not putting in the effort because he is ill, and they just don't realise that because of quarrels. You start to see the ostracisation of this character as he's pushed aside, and the other 3 try to pick up 4 men's work. As he starts to become worse due to this infection, there are these fevered dreams, these hallucinations and nightmare sequences that are wonderfully done. With the editing, with the images that are put together, it feels horrific. It leans very much into horror at these elements, and I was just marvelled by these sequences. They were incredibly effective, and it's the first time I've seen such wonderfully stylised editing and sequences put together in a silent film. Normally I'm used to kind of longer takes. This was short, sharp, abstract images mixed with these close-ups, with the landscape, with these camera techniques that just skewed everything a little bit and added in with the incredible score that comes with this one. It just created a mood and an aesthetic and an atmosphere that I was reveling in. It was tremendous. Now, the film, for the first half hour, 40 minutes, really just focuses on these four guys on this island as everything just breaks down, as it slowly, the poison infects one character, but ultimately affects all of them. It just builds up the tension and creates something wonderful. And within this alone, I could really see the idea of Eggers' The Lighthouse. You could see how that could become easily adapted or influenced by this film. The second half of the film really focuses on the community from the mainland. They're realising that something is wrong on this island. They're not quite sure what it is, but the signals they're getting from there aren't normal, and they want to kind of figure out what's happened, because these are people's husbands, sons, family that are there. And this is a close-knit community, and it's them sort of worrying, looking for someone to go and help, trying to find someone who's willing to take the risk and go over there and see what's happening, that really adds a kind of emotional impact later on in the film. I thought Finis Terrae was absolutely incredible, from the idea of this community cut away from everyone else who just support one another, how it really leans into French Impressionistic cinema, how it kind of looks at mortality, pride, how people are so fragile within this world. The breathtaking landscapes, the rocks, the waves as they crash through it. It feels as if this world is truly alive. Terrific. Let's dive into the disc and see what extras there are. Here we are in the disc of Finis Terrae. First up, we have The Call of the Sea, Pamela Hutchinson on Finis Terrae. This is 17 minutes 32 seconds, and it's all about the director Epstein, almost like a condensed biography, just letting you know about his career, what led him to this film, how his career progressed up until here, and a little bit afterwards as well. Then we have Strangers in a Strange Land by Eddie Falvey, and this is 20 minutes 32 seconds. This focuses more on the film, looking at certain shots, looking at how if everything was composed, the thematics and the symbolism used within the film itself. Next, we have Capturing the Real, Joel Dyer on Jean Epstein. This is 11 minutes 3 seconds. He's kind of looking at how this was a realist or a neo-realist production, how this came after 3 films that didn't do particularly well, one which is really highly well regarded, The Fall of the House of Usher, and what kind of drove this along and gave him a rejuvenating feel to his filmmaking. Also included in this set is a 28-page booklet. We get 2 articles in here: Cinema at the End of the World, Jean Epstein's Finis Terrae by Christopher Wall Roma, and then we have On Certain Characteristics of Photogeny by Jean Epstein himself, which is an excerpt from a 1981 book. And that's the extras for Finis Terrae. Finis Terrae is one of the best silent films I have seen. It may not be for everyone. It can be slow and meditative. It can be experimental at times. But for cinephiles, I think you're going to find something here that is just absolutely wonderful. An essential piece of film history. Of course, Masters of Cinema does an incredible job of releasing this one, and it is a beautiful, haunting, landmark French Impressionistic film, given the release it deserves. Highly recommend this one. Absolutely loved it. I would love to know your thoughts on Finis Terrae. Let me know in the comment box below whether you loved it, hated it, fell somewhere in the middle. As always, there's more content up here. You can see more of my stuff. In the description box are links to Patreon, membership program, manvfilm.com. Always in which you can support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.